Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be my open spoiler discussion and review of episode 7 of the Penguin. Fantastic episode last night, guys. This show just continues to get better and better each week. I didn't even think it was possible. Colin Farrell, what more can be said? This guy is incredible as the Penguin. They chose the best actor for the job. And we're going to go through this episode. We're going to break it down in detail, talk about what happened. I've bookmarked the most important things that I think stand out to me in this episode. So let's jump into it. Let's get straight to it. And let's start talking about what happened in episode 7. So we're going to start off here. So we start off this week's episode with a kind of a flashback to Oswald Cobb as a kid in his family home, growing up with his brothers and his mother, and that dynamic that he has with his family. Then we get this kind of look of Oswald and his mother, and this kind of like he almost idolizes his mother in some degree. He wants to give her a better life, and he begins to feel jealous every time the attention is taken off of him and directed towards his brothers. As you can see here from this image, in this scene we see Oswald and his mother. They were having a kind of a heart-to-heart moment, a nice kind of moment, you know, sharing time together. And then his brothers turn up and his mother's attention is taken away from him and directed towards his brothers. And he sat here in the corner on the chair and he's kind of scowling at his brothers, taking the attention of his mother away from him. And he begins to feel this resentment towards his brothers, which will factor in later on in the episode. Up next, with the Cobb brothers walking down the street, we get this scene where his brother knows this gangster character, and kind of Oz is exposed to this gangster kind of world as a young kid. Then Oz sees this exchange of cash between the gangster and his brother, sees his brother earning money in exchange for services to this gangster, and it kind of puts into perspective of this kind of gangster empire that kind of runs amok in the background of Gotham. It's been there since he was a kid, and it continues to be there, and it's just kind of part and parcel of the life of living in Gotham City. Up next, we get a scene of the Cobb brothers turning up at this abandoned underground tunnel station. They're going through the entrance here. They're going inside to kind of play a game of hide and seek almost. So it turns out, as Oswald's brothers begin to hide, Oswald is left to count to 10 on his own. He then tries to find his brothers. His brothers have left the main underground station area and they have moved into this hatch, climbed down this ladder into a deeper part of the tunnel underground kind of facility. And as we can see Cobb here, he's got his flashlight. He's kind of searching for his brothers. He comes across this open tunnel vent and he proceeds to look for his brothers. So up next, once he discovers that his brothers are at the bottom of this tunneled hatch, he goes inside and realizes there's a ladder to climb down to find his brothers, where he tries to climb down the ladder, but obviously because of his deformity with his leg or his foot, his brothers kind of make a mockery. They joke and laugh at the fact that he can't get down the ladder. Then, after they make a mockery of the fact that he can't climb down the ladder to come and find them, he decides he has so much anger, jealous and resentment built up towards his brother. He decides to climb off the ladder, go outside of the kind of escape tunnel, and then he seals them inside the tunnel with the rainwaters kind of pouring into the vents, slowly kind of beginning to fill up the vent that his brothers have just climbed into. They are now sealed inside. So, after trapping his brothers underground, with the rainwaters kind of filling up the tunnel and his brothers slowly drowning, Oswald just makes his way home. He tells his mother a lie and says that his brothers are at the cinema. Even though it's raining and it's pouring down, he sits there with his mother, just watches a musical on TV and doesn't seem to care one bit that his brothers are potentially dead underground in an abandoned train station. Again, this scene here with him sitting with his mother, this look on his face, he just has a look of pure delight, like he's happy with himself. He's got this kind of sick, smiley, kind of happy look on his face, as he knows his brothers are potentially dead, and it just goes to show the character of Oswald Cobb is, you know, a little bit evil, a little bit sinister from a young age, and that only grew with time to become even more kind of prevalent as he got older. But yeah, this look on his face as his brothers are potentially dying, pretty damn scary and a foreshadowing of kind of what he's going to be like in the future. And as he lays there on the couch watching the musical without a care in the world with his mother, it cuts back to the Gotham City water overflow tunnel underground where his brothers are trapped. We can see that the hatch is closed, that the water is pouring in from the sides of the hatch, and we can hear his brothers kind of panicking from the other side. It's a really kind of terrifying scene to listen to. The rainwater's just pouring in, his brothers are drowning, and it's just kind of a really, really dark overtone scene to kind of watch and kind of witness. So next, the episode cuts back to present day events. This is where it picks up from the last episode, where Vic was dancing with Ma kind of to the music in the, back at Crown Point. And Penguin comes back to Crown Point to discover that Victor's been attacked by Sophia, that Ma has been kidnapped as well, and the events kind of get thrust to a whole new level. It gets turned up to a 10, and the stakes get raised even higher in this episode. Penguin proceeds to wake up Victor here. Before Maroni's men turn up in the car, he gets Victor to escape out the window, and then he gets Victor to bring back his henchmen to put up a fight against Maroni's men. But for the rest of the episode, Victor disappears, we don't see sight or sound of him, and it's very mysterious as to what happened to him or where he went. Just after Victor manages to escape out the window, Maroni and his men turn up at the apartment at Crown Point, where Penguin, Vic, and his mother had been staying. Maroni then continues to beat Penguin with a club that he stole from his apartment. He tells Penguin that he's got his mother, and also tries to take Penguin to his place of operations to get the drugs which he stole from Maroni and Sophia. Sophia is then alerted by Maroni that he's captured Penguin. With Penguin's mother now captured and at Sophia's house, the two get into a dialogue back and forth, kind of taunting each other, talking about their past selves. Sophia begins digging in and questioning Penguin's mother about his upbringing and how he was carved into the character that he is today, and she starts asking Penguin's mother about his brothers as well. But Penguin's mother is quite feisty and puts up a fight, verbally back against Sophia. Then halfway towards Then midway in the conversation, the dementia takes over of Penguin's mother. She loses sight and sound of kind of where she is and what's going on. Sophia seems a bit confused by this. And then all of a sudden, Penguin's mother, after her spell of dementia, snaps back into being, comes back to being fully conscious, kind of taunts Sophia and then slaps her in the face, and that ends the scene between the two of them. Up next, we have a scene with a therapist from Arkham that Sophia knows, but a lot of people are theorizing that this therapist, the scenes that he's in with Sophia, is just a figment of her imagination, that he doesn't actually exist. Whenever he has a conversation, it's only with Sophia, or when he talks to any other characters, he never gets a response back. Does he actually exist, or is he just in her imagination? But in this scene, he comes to her and he tells her the little girl who survived the gas attack, when she gassed her family and killed everyone, the little girl that was alive, she's been questioned by doctors at the place that she's staying, and she could potentially reveal information that could incriminate her for gassing her family to death. After Penguin being captured in the previous scene by Maroni and his men, Maroni then takes Penguin and forces him to show him the location of his secret underground drug operation in the abandoned train station. After Maroni arrives, he tells everyone, all of the henchmen that work for Penguin, that he's now taken over the operation. One of Penguin's henchmen pulls a cable out, the lights go black, and then when the lights come back on, Penguin and Maroni engage in a one-on-one fight. But before the fight can reach its climax, Maroni seems to have a heart attack or some sort of stroke during the middle of the fight. He then kind of grabs his arm and kind of proceeds to kind of pass out and faint and land on the floor. After Maroni passes out from his stroke or heart attack and lands on the floor, as you can see here in the bottom right hand corner of the frame, Penguin stands over Maroni's body. He claims victory, kind of taunts his passed out body, and then he proceeds to pull out his handgun and shoot loads of rounds into the corpse and kind of make sure that Maroni is finally dead. With the fight between Penguin and Maroni now over, with Maroni lying dead on the ground, Penguin's henchmen reclaim order of the operation and the drugs operation in the underground station. Up next, we get a scene showing Sophia visiting the little girl who survived the gas attack. When Sophia gassed her entire family at the home estate, this little girl survived with Sophia. They slept together overnight in the greenhouse while the gas leaked into the house. She goes to visit the little girl to manipulate the situation and tell the little girl that she's better off without her mum and dad, that the people were evil and that she can do better and they weren't offering her a very good life and that she could do better with a new family, manipulating the situation so that incriminating evidence isn't brought against her for gassing her entire family and estate. Up next, Penguin phones Sophia to inform her that Maroni is now dead and that he wants to do a deal to trade his mother for his drug operation. After that, we go back to Sophia's house, where she seems to have another conversation with the therapist, talking about how she needs to do things different from the way that her father and her family did it. She feels that she's too similar and that she needs to approach things in a different way. Again, is this a conversation that she's having internally with her mind, kind of questioning things? Does the therapist in this scene actually exist? Is she the only one that can see it? Is it a figment of her imagination? I think this will be answered in episode 8. We cut back to the underground station, the drug operation, where Penguin's with his henchmen. He begins to ready his troops to receive the shipment of his mother in exchange for the drug operation. The exchange between Penguin and Sophia for his mother and the drug operation begins with this ominous looking car pulling into this kind of tunnel, making its way into the entrance of the underground drug operation that Penguin's currently in charge of. As Penguin approaches the car, the driver gets out of the car door, proceeds to run off into the tunnels. Penguin approaches the car, begins opening the doors, looking to see what's inside, potentially about to find his mother dead on the back seat of the car. Penguin approaches this bag to think that it's his mother dead in the back seat, but it turns out, as he moves the cover off what he thinks may be his mother's corpse, it turns out to be a bomb planted in the back of this car. After discovering the bomb on the back seat of the car that's just pulled into the drug operation, with a 20-second countdown timer on the bomb about to detonate, Penguin makes a run for it, and is foreshadowing of the opening scene earlier in his childhood where he locked his brothers into this flood tunnel. Penguin escapes the bomb explosion by jumping into the exact same tunnel in which he killed his brothers when they flooded and died and ultimately drowned. As the car bomb detonates underground in the drug operation, we get this beautiful sweeping bird's eye shot above ground in the streets of Gotham, showing the explosion, the devastation, the kind of the blast wave, and kind of the chaos that is caused above ground as well as below. We then cut back to an earlier phase of Oz Cobb's younger life. Once again, he's at some sort of party with his mother. He's on the dance floor and he's sort of having a sweet dance with his mother. He's looking his mother in the face and he says, "Mum, when you're older, I'm going to give you a better life. I'm going to try to give you everything that I possibly can." So after that flashback scene with him and his mother, we now cut forward back to the present day. After the car bomb just exploded in the drug operation underground, Penguin, after surviving it, is now climbing up the very same ladder that at the beginning of the episode, the events took place surrounding his brothers, taking the mick out of him for not being able to climb down because of his deformity. He is now climbing up the very same ladder where those events took place, kind of bringing the story full circle. Then finally, we see Penguin emerge from the tunnels underground, showing the devastation above ground in the streets of Gotham. Everything covered in dust, everything turned to ash, explosions, chaos, people running around, injured, all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. Then, as Penguin continues to make his way down the street, everything covered in ash, everything destroyed, we see one of Sophia Gigante's henchmen coming towards Penguin. He knocks Penguin out with a baton, telling him that he's going to have a meeting with Sophia. And that cuts to the end of the episode. So, with that in-detailed breakdown look at episode 7 under our belt, I have 3 remaining questions that I'm kind of left with at the end of this episode. So, question 1. Are the brothers still alive? That would be a major plot twist going into episode 8. We never actually saw the bodies of his brother. Like, it was heavily implied that they died, that they drowned in that flood tunnel as the rainwaters were coming in. We never saw a body, we never saw any confirmation that they were in fact dead. So I think that a major plot twist would be that the Penguin's brothers survived and they're still alive and they're still out there somewhere in the world. So that could be potentially one of the things going forward. Question number 2. What happened to Victor in this episode? Like I said, when Victor was discovered and Penguin discovered Victor had been attacked and his mother had been kidnapped, Victor was then kind of shoved out the window and kind of told to go and get reinforcements and henchmen to fight Maroni, and he kind of disappeared halfway into the episode, never to be seen again. Penguin throughout the episode references to the fact that he's missing. Where did he go? What happened to him? Will we find out in episode 8? So that's the second question, what happened to Victor? And then number 3, throughout the episode 7 and throughout the series, the scenes between Sophia and the therapist, are they in fact real? Is the therapist a real person? Or is it just a figment of her imagination, kind of like we talked about in the video? So that's the 3 questions I'm left with. Are the brothers actually dead? We have no confirmation, we saw no bodies. Number 2, what happened to Victor after he left before Maroni turned up? he was never to be seen again. And number 3, is the therapist that Sophia keeps having conversations with, is he actually real or a figment of her imagination? So guys, that's kind of where we are. I think that episode was incredible. It gets better and better every week, like I said. I hope you enjoyed that detailed breakdown and kind of those 3 questions that I had. If you have any other points that you wanted to talk about or any other questions you're left with after episode 7, jump down in the comment section and let me know and let everybody else know. Share your thoughts, opinions and comments on this episode. I cannot wait to hear your feedback on this episode and what you thought about it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe before you leave, and I will see you as always in the next video.